the 2021 Maryland General Assembly, and we are right in the thick of the thing, so I will just jump right in. And it's my honor to serve you as one of District 8 delegates. First and foremost, next week, the full House of Delegates will meet to take up veto overrides and committee reports from a standing committee, those legislation from last year that the governor vetoed. As it stands, I plan on voting to override 2 of the governor's Hogan vetoes. As an educator and parent to a student in our public schools, I plan on voting to override the veto of the Blueprint for Maryland Future. While we are certainly hurting fiscally due to the pandemic, it is important that we continue to invest in essential services, and there is nothing more essential than our education system. The first 3 years have already been budgeted for, and there is a lot of controversy. People might say that, oh, there is no money and stuff like that, but we have money for first 3 years. Okay, I want to make it clear. And I'm certainly willing to reevaluate my position when this initial funding dries up. So we have years. But this comprehensive overhaul of our education system is very vital. Our state's national standing with regard to education has fallen over the past decade, and it is incumbent upon us to do all we can to put students and our educators in the best position to succeed. And the Blueprint does that. The other veto override I'm committed has to do with the Prescription Drug Affordability Board. While I understand the rationale behind a good portion of Governor Hogan's veto, I work close with him. Then this decision to me was a wrong one. The tax implication on Maryland residents are minimal. We are talking about pennies here. Meanwhile, the out-of-pocket saving on prescription medications would more than cover the cost. It is worth noting that when it comes to prescription medication, District 8 legislators, your legislator in the past, have been at the forefront of the discussion for a while. Senator Klasmeyer has worked on this issue for years, and if you remember, former Delegate Eric Bramwell did so as well. With that in mind, I'm taking up that torch, and I'm in the Health and Government Operations Committee as well. And this is vital for our seniors, for those with health conditions, and to groups that need some now more than ever. And I intend to show my support with the veto override on those 2 pieces. In my legislation for this year I have filed more legislation than in previous years, taking lead sponsor duties on 10 pieces of legislation. So far, 5 pieces of legislation have already enacted into law since I was elected. Of those bills, 2 of cross files of bills submitted by my Republican colleagues in the Senate, Chris West. One of those bills deal with ensuring our liquor board members in Baltimore County actually should live in Baltimore County. The other deals with police reform issues. Last year, the county council passed bipartisan legislation in our county that was supported by 2 of the 3 Republican members of the council, the county executive, the FOP, and the NAACP, and more. The legislation submitted by Senator West and I would so those reform enacted statewide. That's very common sense, and while also mandating the use of body cameras in jurisdiction where they are currently not used. It would also see the Baltimore City Police Department return to the control of the Baltimore City Mayor and City Council. The state have control over the department. It is a Civil War era relic, a measure taken to keep the department from coming under control of the Know Nothing Party. If you remember, the state having control doesn't do much, and this legislation provides a baseline for reform measures while taking 2 big leaps with body cameras and control of Baltimore City Police right there. And as of now, I've had bills hearing on 5 pieces of legislation. already. The one that has received the most publicity is HB 48. I know you remember that bill, which would bar those on the sex offender registry list from attending classes in person, period. They can go to school. After the story broke last year that a student was allowed to return to classes in our district, where he subsequently victimized 2 more young women, your district representative worked to rectify this glaring problem. We ran into issues last year due to language in our emergencies legislation that would have gone against federal guideline on education. But we worked out the kinks over the summer. uh, Essentially, those on the sex offender registry list would need to partake in homeschooling. There was not solution in last year bill because federally it is a federal mandate that if somebody below 21, they must have to go to school. That's the responsibility of government. So this is a very bipartisan bill, and I believe we found a solution. And I'm very thankful to Senator Klasmeyer, Delegate Jackson, Delegate Butler for their work. I testified on this bill last week, and I firmly believe we will be able to move it through both chamber and get it signed by Governor Hogan, and we won't get any negative publicity. Like as you were disheartened, I was disheartened to see that on the news so many times. 2 pieces of legislation I'm sponsoring came from working with the Maryland Department of Health in between legislative session, and one of those bills will cut some red tape and help physical therapists and physical therapy assistant get to work sooner. Another piece of legislation would increase workers' compensation benefits for Baltimore County correctional and detentional facility workers. They do the very, very difficult job. Given the fact that COVID issues in correctional facilities continue to plague our country, providing enhanced benefits to those on the front line is essential. And we also do not know the long-term ramification of COVID. So securing better benefits takes on even more importance. And I also have additional legislation to create a task force to study the state home and hospital program. Since this program would be necessary for our sex offender bill, I think it takes on more importance. I've also proposed legislation to honor Dashe Day, which is of great importance to our ever-growing South Asian community. And I have legislation which would expand early voting to 10 days, the most allowed per Maryland Constitution. Finally, I proposed legislation to allow for faculty at CCBC to enter into collective bargaining. As an educator and union member myself, I think it is important to give these educators that opportunity. And it has been an ongoing fight for over a decade at this point. And I'm proud to support this legislation. And in the past, I had put many bond bills, and we could bring over millions of dollars in our district. And I am this year, I'm planning to do a bond bill for our Double Rock Park. We need to improve that park. So I will be fighting for that this year as well. Yes, I will be fighting up for that. And I have a conversation with Kathy Bevins as well. And hopefully I will have your support and he would come to testify. It will be in June. And if there is any question and concern, please let me know. And I help over 1,100 constituents over this pandemic. And there is a form available and a scholarship application is open. If anybody you know in our district, we do scholarship together as well, bipartisan. So I'm here to help in any way I can, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Harry. That sounds like you've been working hard. Does anybody have questions for Harry about this legislation or any other issues?
Madam President, I do. Delegate, how are you?
Oh, doing great, Keith. How are you?
Good to see you. Long time no see.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned some of the vetoes. What's your stance on the digital tax veto? I think it's 732 digital tax.
Look, I do not support the tax increase. Okay. So I did not support last year, and I won't be supporting this year too. So I will go with the governor on that.
Always looking out for the district.
Yes.
Yeah, let me know what you need at Double Rock State Park. That's awesome for that bond bill.
Yes. So we need a serious improvement on that.
Absolutely.
Regarding the scholarships, would they be awarded for students entering college this coming fall? Is that the scholarships you're talking about? That
Yes. And it is, the deadline is April 1. As I said, they can apply to any of the delegates' office and senatorial office. April 1st is a deadline, so they can go to harrybandari.com. Application is there, so they can fill out and email that application, or they can email. They can mail to my district office. Everything is there. And then one more piece of information: I publish newspaper newsletter every week. So go to harrybandari.com if you want to find more information on that. And over the interim, I publish every month. So you will find the newsletter from 2019 all the way to now. So to harrybandari.com.
Okay. Great. Awesome. I think there's some great kids in this neighborhood that should try and take advantage of that. All right.
I just have a quick question. Is the scholarship only available for students that are coming out from high school? What about students that are working adults?
Oh, everybody can do that. High school student and whoever already there in college. But they need to live in our district. Anybody outside the district, I would love to connect with the other senator and delegates. Please let me know, so they can take advantage of that as well. And I'm also committed the turf field for our Parkville High School. And you know, that's surprising. It costs more than $1 million. And we have, I believe, close to $400,000 there. And due to the COVID, county executive has done a great job, and he promised, but due to the COVID, we don't have money, but I am constantly fighting for that as well. And just, I wanted to inform that I have not dropped that ball. Still will be fighting.
Working on it.
Yes.
Great. Excellent. Well, if there are no more questions for Harry, we're going to keep moving on the agenda. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. I'll be listening the issues, and I will be hanging around for a while here.
Okay, great.
Thanks.